Hey, you guys, what's going on? So welcome back. We are doing the reverse type 2 diabetes 30-day challenge. I think today is day number 4. We're on day number 4, right? And so if you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Sheba Quinn, founder of the Liberated Kitchen, where I help African American families reverse diseases such as type 2 diabetes and kick autoimmune diseases to the curb, right? And so we are doing this challenge. It's a 30-day challenge to help those with type 2 diabetes. So like I say, today we're on day 4. So what all have we covered up to this point? Let's see. The first day I had you contact your doctor and let your doctor know what's going on. Tell your doctor that, hey, you know what? We are correcting our diet in order and effort to try to fix this type 2 diabetes issue we got going on. That was day number 1. And then day number 2, I told you to get a notebook to jot everything down, right? To get a notebook and jot everything down. And in that notebook, I wanted you to put your current weight and your A1C level. That's the first entry that I want you to make in your notebook, okay? And then on day 3, which was yesterday, I had you to download the app Chronometer or My Fitness Pal, to track your food, track all your food in one day. And in that, we're searching for the fat. We're searching for the fat and the protein. I also recommended to you yesterday that you read this book, Proteinaholic. This is an old copy, so the cover may look different than the most recent, print of it. Same information, just this was the first print. So definitely, if you're having difficulty understanding diabetes or any diseases, as it relates to protein, please, I beg of you to pick up this book. I am not endorsing this book. I don't get paid anything for this book. I just think that this is a book that if you have any issues in your body going on that we need to read, basically because the lies we've been fed about protein. So it is by Garth Davis, a medical doctor, and it's Proteinaholic, okay? So that was my suggestions to you for yesterday in this 30-day challenge. And so today we're on day 4, and today we're going to look at the numbers, because remember, yesterday I told you that when people come to me, no one has bad eating habits. Everyone eats good. Like, everyone has clean eating, and I don't doubt that you're doing your best, right? However, what we're looking for are the thing that's keeping us tied up in bondage and hostage. Oftentimes we can't see. And so that's why we have to do accountability. And I know this is the hardest thing for people to do, but we have to know our numbers in order to fix the problems. And these numbers that we're looking at is the numbers of the food that we literally put in our mouth. These are not the numbers that you get through blood work. I'm sorry. Like, you literally got to write this stuff down. You got to put it into an app or whatever and track it. And so that's what I asked you to do. Put it in the app and track it, all right? And so I did it with you, okay? And so I have numbers here. So let's talk about it. All right, so remember, the numbers are, the numbers that we're looking for is no more than 30 grams of fat and no more than 30 grams of protein in a day, okay? That's no more than 30 grams of fat and no more than 30 grams of protein in a day. The reason that's important is because the main issue here with diabetes is that, remember I told you it's sugar and fat, right? The sugar can't get into the cell. Your cells need sugar, but the sugar can't get in because of this coating of fat around the cells. And so then the sugar gets returned back into our bloodstream, and then it goes and turn into fat and do all kind of crazy things in our body, right? Making life really difficult. For some people, it becomes type 2 diabetes when it gets to the pancreas, and the pancreas starts producing, insulin in amounts that it should not be. For others, it turns into autoimmune diseases, such as what I have, lupus. Okay, so we don't want these issues going on. That's why we got to control this protein and we got to control this fat. Most importantly, the fat. The reason that the protein and the fat goes together is because many Americans, they're getting their fat from protein, okay? Many Americans are getting their fat from protein. So if we fix the protein problem, we can also fix the fat problem. If we fix the fat problem, we fix the protein problem, all right? So let's look at these numbers. So the max I said was 30 grams in a day, okay? So, and in my meal for yesterday, I had 10 grams of fat, right? I had 10 grams of fat. Where did my fat come from? And let's be mindful, I eat a whole food plant-based diet. Remember, 90% of the time, all right? 90% of my diet is whole food plant-based. So my fat came from 10 grams from avocado. I had a half avocado and I had some tofu, and I sprayed my tofu with a little light oil on it, okay? And then I had 2 tablespoons of olive oil. The 2 tablespoons from olive oil came from simply having a salad with salad dressing. So that's where my fat came from in yesterday, okay? Which is great. That's perfect. That's all the fat that I need, right? I'm good. I'm great. Everything is running smoothly. Everything is good, all right? But here's the thing. I also did the numbers as if I was still eating my standard American diet, also known as the SAD diet. If I was eating the SAD diet, then this is what my numbers would have looked like, okay? I still would have had the salad, and on that salad, I still would have had some avocado, and I still would have had some olive oil. So there goes, you know, my 10 grams of fat right there, okay? And for breakfast on the SAD diet, what most people have is 2 eggs and 2 slices of bacon. I didn't put cheese on here. That's another place of fat. But I just said 2 eggs and 2 slices of bacon. So the 2 eggs was 10.6 grams of fat, and the bacon was 5.6 grams of fat, okay? And then the average American for lunch is going to have chicken breast for lunch because that's a healthier choice, right? Well, and that chicken breast is 5.4 grams of fat. 5.4 grams of fat. I want to just pause there for a second because we're all hung up on chicken breast being, hey, you know, so healthy. 5.4 grams of fat in this chicken breast, okay? And then the average American, because they're still trying to do well, they're still trying to eat clean, and they are trying really hard to do the right thing. I truly do believe that because we want to live long lives. So the average American for dinner, they're having some type of fish. And most of the time, I know African Americans, we love us some salmon, right? So salmon has, let's see, this, I believe was 10 grams of fat. Yeah, that has to be 10 grams of fat. That salmon had 10 grams of fat, y'all. 10 grams of fat. So you wonder why the sugar can't get into your cells, the glucose can't get into the cells to do its job, and it's becoming rejected, and it's called insulin resistant, is because we have all this fat going on, okay? So like I said, when you find the fat, you find the problem with protein. When you find protein, you find the problem with fat, all right? And so, and just yesterday on the standard American diet, if I calculated everything that I ate based on the standard American diet, and let's be clear, this was my meal every day for a long time, okay? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast was 2 eggs, 2 slices of bacon, and some toast, right? Lunch was chicken breast, just like everybody else. Dinner was fish, just like everybody else, right? Because I too was trying to do the right thing. But in that, and just yesterday, if I were to calculate the fat grams, there were 42 grams of fat. 42 grams, all right? Remember, we don't need no more than 30 in a day. I literally knocked that out by 12 extra grams. Now, that's just fat. In this standard American meal, if I had it yesterday, in addition to having 42 grams of fat, I also had 117 grams of protein. Remember, the average person only needs about 30 grams of protein if they're not doing anything. The average woman, I should say. Of course, all this is based on on size, height, weight, that type of thing. But I'm talking about the average woman, right? I'm talking about the average woman that's within the 5'2" to 5 foot height range. You only need about 30 grams of protein a day. If you're sitting around not doing anything, if you're working out, hey, got some exercise and all that going on, lifting weights, hey, okay, we can give you 40 grams. But the average person sat in the house like I did yesterday. I didn't do anything yesterday except for read some books, clean the kitchen, cook some meals, create content, that type of thing, right? In that, if I had ate this standard American diet, I literally would have 117 grams of protein and don't have the movement along with it to help burn it off. Because here's the thing, you got to move if you're going to eat this much protein, and we're not doing that. So this is part of the problem, okay? This is why many of us are insulin resistant. It's because we're eating too much fat and too much protein and making it difficult for glucose to get into our cells and do its job. And so you're probably saying, Doc, how do I fix all this? Okay, so what's the answer? How do we fix this, right? Well, how do we fix this is that we have to drain our tanks. Remember yesterday I was saying that when you are fixing your problem with type 2 diabetes, with any illness really, you have to go through a period of fasting, meaning that you have to go through a period of where we're not eating food, okay? And so I start most all my clients out with intermittent fasting. And what that means is that you have certain times of the day that you eat food and that you don't. And we do this so that we can drain the tanks. In other words, we do this so that we can remove all this fat out of our cells, out of our body, right from around all our organs and all the things. We do this so that we can release toxins out of our bodies as well, okay? Now, there's different levels to fasting. There's different ways that you can fast. I'm just simply trying to get you started today. If you work with me one-on-one, we go way, way deeper into fasting. And as we continue on this 30-day challenge, we're going to do some more extended fasting. But as of today, on day 4 of this challenge, what I literally want you to do is simply start fasting. And so the easiest way for anyone to start fasting, for you to start draining your tanks, to get rid of all that fat, right? To let your body relinquish it so that you can, get rid of this type 2 issue, then we're going to start with a 16-8 fast. And so what does that mean? That means that we're going to restrict ourselves from eating 16 hours a day, and we're only going to eat within an 8-hour window, okay? And so how does that work? For all of us, if you're working with me, the easiest way I believe for us to fast is to simply skip breakfast, right? Let the bacon and eggs and toast go. Let it go. You don't need it. Literally skip breakfast. And so I know someone's going to say, well, Doc, I have to take medicine. I can't skip breakfast. Cool, no problem. If you got to take medicine, we're going to fix this for you, okay? Because in the grand scheme of things, many people don't really have breakfast till around 10 or 11 o'clock anyway, all right? So what we're going to do is that we're still going to eat in the morning time. And so our fasting window is going to be between 11 and 7, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. at night. And so what does that mean? That means that when you wake up in the morning, you're going to skip breakfast. However, you're going to have your first meal at 11 o'clock. So technically you're having lunch at 11 o'clock. Whatever you typically eat for lunch, eat it at that time, okay? I'm not trying to clean you up right now. I'm not going through all that. We'll get to that. When I say clean up, I'm telling you to restrict some things. I'm just trying to get you into a routine of fasting, okay? Give me a few days to get you a routine of fasting, and then we're going to start, pulling some things out so that you'll have a cleaner fasting experience. But for right now, all I want you to do is skip breakfast. Skip breakfast and eat lunch at 11 o'clock. And I want you to be done eating your last meal by 7 o'clock. Ideally 6:45. At 6:45, you should not be putting anything else in your mouth, okay? Latest you can go is 7 o'clock. If you someone sitting there watching the clock, I want you to watch the clock for 7 o'clock, okay? At 7 o'clock, no more food. Cut off, okay? So everything that you're going to eat, you're going to eat between the hours of 11 and 7. All right. Now, I know this is new for a lot of people. Some people have fasted before. You're like, oh, Doc, cool. That's easy. I get it. But for those that's never done this before, I want you to be intentional about your time. Okay. Anything that you're going to eat, we want to stay away from junk food. But even in this moment, I'm not going to restrict you. I'm going to get to all of that. But for right now, I just want you to focus your time, your effort, and your energy around eating between 11 and 7. I want you to set the alarm on your clock for 7 o'clock, 6:45, 7, whatever works for you. If you that person is like, I got to eat one more thing before my time is up, cool. Set it for 6:45, okay? But between 6:45, 7 o'clock, whichever one you choose, that's the last thing you eat for tonight. When you wake up in the morning, you're going to simply have some water and go on about your day. If you start to feel like you're getting hungry before 11 o'clock, here's what you can do. You can have water with lemon in it, okay? Just lemon. You can also have water with salt. I know somebody's going to ask about, vinegar. What is it? The ACV vinegar? No vinegar, okay? We're not doing vinegar. All the thing you can have is water with lemon or water with salt. You can also have black coffee. Okay, if you feel yourself getting hungry and you need to extend your fasting out, have black coffee. No sugar, no cream. No sugar substitute of no kind. No creamers. We're talking about no sugar, none of that. No creamers. Drink it black. I promise you can do it. If it feels too strong, just add some water to it, okay? I typically, if I'm out and about and I'm fasting, I need some coffee to hold me over. I get me a cup of coffee. I order a cup of coffee and a cup of water. I pour half of the coffee out and pour the water in just to water it down so I can down it a lot better. All right. But you are having black coffee, no sugar, no cream. All right. And the other thing you can have is tea. You can have green or black tea, no fruity teas. The reason that you can't have the things I'm telling you can't have, such as fruity teas and creams and sugars and all that, is because they ignite insulin in you, okay? And it's going to bring you out your fast. We don't want to come out the fast, all right? So we stay being clean. So again, your fasting window is from 11 to 7. Eat your first meal at 11 o'clock. Eat your last meal by 7. If you get hungry, when you wake up in the morning, if you get hungry, have you some coffee or some tea or water. Technically, you should be drinking water first thing in the morning anyway to rehydrate your body, okay? So have water, tea, or coffee up till 11 o'clock. If 11 o'clock feels like that, it's taking too long and you need to break a little quicker, cool, break at 10:30. Have your breakfast at 10:30. I'm cool with that, right? If you want to do 10 o'clock, you can do that too. It's just that you shifting your window. Your hours of eating now becomes between 10 and 6. If we're shifting our window to 10 and 6, well, then that means that you cannot have anything else to eat after 6 o'clock in the evening, okay? So if you got to get closer to that medication window, or hey, it's 10 o'clock and you just can't hold out, that's fine. Have your food, okay? But the last thing you're going to eat is by 6 o'clock, all right? So that's what we're working on today, on day 4, which is fasting. You're going to start 16-8 fasting. Now, again, that's just today, okay? As we continue along on this journey, we're going to definitely dump out those tanks. We're going to get cleaned up, and you will have some extended fasting hours. But for right now, we're simply doing 16-8. We have identified that we have a problem with fat. We need to drain our tanks. And in order to drain our tanks, we're going to fast. All right. So that's all I have for you today. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye.